I speak with restaurant owners and general managers across the country, and most of the time they ask me, why are my team inconsistent? Why is their performance good sometimes and not others? How do I get them together and really rally them for best performance? And I always ask them, have you set clear expectations? Do you have accountability? And most importantly, do you have recognition and rewards? Today's guests specialize in just that, creating team spirit, morale, increased productivity, team members showing initiative, and it's really all about recognizing people that up-levels the culture in your business, in your restaurant or hospitality. With me today, David Strange, a leading company, My Employees in just that, employee recognition programs, and Laurie Camara, from Magna Hospitality, a company that manages over $5 billion in hotel real estate, and they both specialize in just that, team member recognition and rewards. Here's the secret sauce. Check it out. I hope that you're enjoying the podcast, and if so, we hope that you would leave us a positive review on your favorite podcast player. It'll help other leaders and owners of restaurants and other restaurant and hospitality professionals find us. And if you have an interesting topic or a guest that you'd like us to feature, reach out to me, Roger, R-O-G-E-R, at restaurantrockstars.com. Now, on with the episode.
You're tuned in to the Restaurant Rockstars Podcast. Powerful ideas to rock your restaurant. Here's your host, Roger Beaudoin.
Your restaurant team is the foundation of your business and most important asset. I know from experience that a happy team is a productive team that deliver great guest service experiences. Morale is the key. Check out myemployees.com/hospitality. My Employees offers impactful, consistent, and most of all, appreciated recognition programs that boost morale, reduce turnover, and drive guest satisfaction. My Employees is the industry benchmark, helping thousands of hospitality leaders build winning teams. Go to myemployees.com/hospitality. Running my restaurants taught me that the right tools move your business forward. So I'm a fan of Touch Bistro. It's more than just a POS, it's an all-in-one restaurant management system built by restaurateurs. Touch Bistro helps speed up service, reduce errors, and turn tables faster, while loyalty programs, online ordering, and contactless payments boost your bottom line. Plus, real-time analytics, inventory tracking, and staff scheduling are game changers. Want to learn more? Reach out to my friend Becky at BTARTICK@touchbistro.com or give her a call at 647-360-3994. She'll give you the full scoop and take great care of you. Welcome back, everyone. This is the Restaurant Rockstars Podcast. So glad you're here. David, Laurie, welcome to the show. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Roger.
Of course, this is going to be a rousing discussion. And of course, it's all about recognition, rewards, team spirit, chemistry, and morale, of course. So, David, let's start with you. This is a tough labor market for any industry. Can you tell us an example, perhaps, of a company struggling with staff retention, morale, and how you've helped them turn this around?
Yeah, pretty much after COVID, we saw leadership churn through the roof, especially in the hospitality industry. Keeping the right people just became paramount. And especially for some of the hospitality leaders that we heard from needing to cut back the majority of their staff, that became a topic that we grew our business back in. And to this day, it's something that we support with, specifically bringing the most out of the employees, how we can support driving morale, engagement, culture. And at the end of the day, it's really simple. Just having them feel appreciated for the work that they do. And leaders really get that when the employees appreciated, the guest feels appreciated, you have a great business.
Fantastic. Thank you for answering. Laurie, let's shift to you. Now, Magna Hospitality is a huge enterprise with multifaceted teams. How do you ensure that your employees feel valued, perhaps? And can you give an instance where recognizing an individual team member might have led to a great guest experience in any of your properties?
Yeah, so I will actually say we don't call them employees at Magna.
Thank you.
Every one of our hourly team members is a team member.
Right.
And as managers, as corporate team, we see ourselves as a team member as well. That's how we get in their shoes. That's how we know what they want, what they need, and we make them feel like they're part of a family. As far as team recognition, we recognize our team all the time. Our culture is together, everyone achieves more. We made team just an acronym. So we focus on our team every single day, our managers, our owners, everyone, all the way up to the corporate level. For our team, I will say we recognized, I'll give you one instance. We recognized a manager of the quarter. He ended up becoming a manager of the year. He's a chief engineer at one of our hotels. And there is a plaque or prize that we give them individual from my employees. And then there's also a cash incentive that we give them. And it's $1,000 for our managers at the end of the year. And this individual gave it to another coworker that was in need. And I won't say it directly impacts, or it doesn't seem like it directly impacts the guests. However, our happy team trickles down to happy guests because they take care of the guests. We take care of them. They take care of the guests. And the guests it's return on our investment. Yeah.
And that has a direct effect on loyalty and repeat business and those things.
Right.
And there's obviously you recognize your team. Part of the culture is the incentivization, but also a personal point of pride, perhaps, to deliver an outstanding experience. And even, I call it making friends with your guests and creating those relationships at any level if you interact with a guest, which often means that person comes back again and asks for those team members by name. I'm sure you see that happening.
We literally tell our team, like, I'm in the corporate office, right? And when you hear corporate, everyone gets scared. They're like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? So they act a certain way around corporate. But we literally tell our team, we don't work for the managers. We work for you. Your managers work for you. And it gives our team that, oh my gosh, they really care about us feel, rather than we're managers, we're your leaders. They're team members. We're all team members. We're all part of a big family. So yeah, our team, as long as we keep them happy, they will keep our guests happy. And that's what we try to instill.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we're all on the same page with that. David, some employees feel perhaps that higher pay is enough these days, especially we're paying the highest wages ever in the hospitality industry and kitchens, perhaps. What would you say to those people that just think, oh, we pay you a lot, so we expect a lot, and these are our expectations? And that's that boss mentality, not a leader mentality. What would you say to that?
I'd say you can't put a price on the true value. You can't put worth on the potential of an outstanding employee. So that's something I wouldn't encourage anyone chasing. Yes, we want to earn a lot of money. Yes, we want to give raises, but there's a fuel and a passion and a fire that you can invest in daily, and just showing someone that appreciation, that recognition. It doesn't necessarily need to tie to compensation, but investing in a handwritten thank you note or, hey, really appreciate you helping out. I have never found an employee that says, hey, we've received too much recognition. So my encouragement as operators, as managers, is we're really good at putting out fires and taking care of the needs of the properties, but going above and beyond and just the smallest thank you and the investment, that actually shows and has the employee feel appreciated. And it's not pay, but in my realm of doing this for 15 years with thousands of clients, appreciated employees outperform any other employee in the market.
Beautiful. Let me ask you a specific question, David. In your years of experience dealing with multi-industries, do you see employers that perhaps encourage the opinions of their team members and giving them a voice because they might recognize that these people working in the trenches every day see things that could improve the business, but if you don't ask, you don't get? Do you see that much? Is that common now today? Because it never really used to be.
I don't know that it's common, but what is common, I don't know that it's common in the leadership world, but what we see as a common best practice in our client leaders, our thousands of client leaders, is embracing the viewpoint of the front line and getting in there and treating them truly as co-leaders of the organization. There's no better solution than one seen from the front lines, from their point of view, where it's interacting directly with the guest. And so the strongest leaders, in my opinion, gather that feedback, they encourage that feedback, And quite frankly, I think it makes it a safer, more responsive atmosphere when the boss walks up and says, "Hey, tell me from your point of view, how do we make this interaction even better?" Makes me feel valued as an employee. And when I'm an employee and I feel valued, man, that boss just made my day. I'll go to bat for him or her, whatever he or she needs. And I think that perspective of leadership, getting feedback from the front lines is more important now than ever.
Thank you. Laurie, would you answer the same question and let me ask you from your own experience with Magna Hospitality? Do you encourage team members to have a voice or an opinion? Has it led to any successes within the organization that you can recall?
All the time. There are partners in the success of each property. Something as simple as, hey, where do you want the TV in the break room? All the way up to, hey, what should we do for the guests? And it's exactly what David said. They feel empowered. They are part of the process. So if you're giving them a voice, they just own it. And again, it makes them happier. They're, like I said, they're partners in running the business rather than just an employee. So yeah, absolutely a successful practice, best practice, like David said.
I applaud that approach. The old school way might be the old-fashioned suggestion box hanging on the wall. And this is a modern world, and maybe there's a new way of doing this. But I came across a restaurant group that has something called MMDD program. And I'm like, what's that? And it stands for Made My Day Difficult. And they encourage any of their team members at the end of every shift to put something either in the box or however they do it to tell us either anonymously or you can put your name on it. This was a challenge today, and they fix all of those challenges or things that are broken, and ultimately the guest experience is up-leveled for that. So just something I wanted to share because I found it to be very simple, yet very important to raise the morale of the team and kind of genius, really. But I'm sure you have plenty of examples of that. Two-part question. What are Magna's core values first, and how do you reinforce these?
Okay, so I already mentioned together everyone achieves more. And really that is our culture. That's like we lead with that. Every time we onboard somebody, we lead with our culture because I think that's the most important thing to understand. It encourages our team to be part of the success. And it gets that mindset of every individual is part of something more or something bigger. And it goes back to that family feel. And I will say it gets rid of the, it's not my job mindset. And again, just all the individuality and makes them know that if we're successful as a team, then we also reach everyone's individual goals because everyone has individual goals as well. But we're all working towards that common goal. And when we do that, then, maybe we get that set schedule that we like or the preferred days off or the raise if we're successful as a property. And then what was the second part of that?
Okay, you have something called an Outstanding Team Member Program, and perhaps you've covered this. We just haven't mentioned it by name. Is there anything you want to add about this and what ripple effect it might have on the overall team?
So we actually have two things. The first one is we have Love Your Team cards, we call them, and they're for our team members to recognize outstanding performance. So going above and beyond. Not showing up to work on time because that's expected, right? Although sometimes I feel like we should be giving cards for that. But the sales team, they have a last minute meeting and engineering goes and they flip the room. That's not the engineering's job, right? That's not the engineering team's job or job duties. However, they went above and beyond to help the team be successful and help the guests. So we give them this recognition card with their name on it. And in the end, they get incentives, prizes, and gift cards and things like that, and just recognition. Then we also have, as you collect those, you end up getting mentioned. And so it helps us build with our team member of the month, team member of the quarter, and also manager of the quarter. And we use my employees for that. So there's a nomination process. As your name is mentioned multiple times, you're just a rock star of a team member. You just help everyone. You're always pleasant. You do the bare minimum, but always go above and beyond. You're recognized by your team, your peers, your coworkers, and also by managers. So you get recognized with a plaque, like I said, and then also a cash incentive if you're nominated. If you think about it, so we have 80 properties. Each month we recognize 80 team members across the country. And then at the end of the year, we narrow that down to team member of the year, we have 3,000 plus team members, and one person company-wide wins for the entire company. And they're blasted out, like picture, bio, and then they come to our conference with all of our corporate team. And they get another cash incentive. We just had somebody come to Puerto Rico with us that's just a team member, and it's just amazing.
I love that. That is tremendous. Let me flip that on one particular aspect of what you said. Now, there are lots of people that, get the raw and they kind of really buy into this and they take initiative and they really care about what they're doing. But then there's those average employees that just show up for the paycheck. And sometimes those people don't last too long. They either get voted off the island because the performance isn't what it should be. But let's just say you've got a solid performer, but they just don't really buy in and they don't go above and beyond. What would you say to that? Or how do you turn that around?
I got to say, I feel like if you're seeing your team, a coworker, being recognized, you want in. So most of the time they're flipping and they just want in. And you're right. The people that don't buy into that culture, they don't fit in almost. So they do work their way out. I got to say, we have a really solid team. Everyone wants kudos. Everyone wants to be recognized. Everyone wants cash incentives. So yeah, I have to say, I think it helps those people come out of their shell a little bit.
There you go.
And then the rest of the team encourages them and they push them.
Wow, that's personal growth. And you're seeing a lot of that because there are shy people, of course, and people that, for whatever reason, socially awkward perhaps, but they're good at what they do. But when other team members encourage that and it's just this common feeling, that's part of your company culture. I love the fact that people come out of their shell and they become better people, better performers, better personal friends, and just in their own personal lives. I think that's tremendous also. David, are there any specific strategies that you suggest to develop chemistry or teamwork or camaraderie or respect or any of those things in any organization?
Yeah, just to touch on just the team member that's just showing up and doing their job and getting the job done, but not really come out of their shell. That's why I love recognition. I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be where I'm at in the company had somebody not repeatedly recognized me. So I believe recognition and appreciation gives opportunity to get to know your most valuable asset, which is your employee. Understanding them, realizing it isn't about you as the leader. It isn't really about the restaurant. It isn't even about the guests that come visit us. It is truly, really about the relationship that you build with your employees. And that's an investment every day. And it's really easy to point out what we're getting wrong, what we need to do right. But man, for leaders who are listening to this, I would encourage you. We have a 1-1-1 challenge here. It's really simple. Just one leader recognizes one employee once a week. And that gets you into the mindset is what's this team member doing right? And just a little bit of appreciation says, hey, they value me. It's okay to speak up here. It's okay to feel heard. It's okay to go above and beyond. A lot of employees won't give you 100% because you haven't communicated that it's safe to do that here yet. Yes. So appreciation and pouring in is like unlocking the potential. And at the end of the day, after you do it right, you'll find out like, okay, these folks are in and A players, winners, want to work with winners. It's infectious. People love working with somebody who has a positive, great attitude, even if they don't do a lot of talking, they just love that energy. And at the end of the day, I think that's the culture we all want is a very efficient, very, very high impact culture where you can go, hey, I can't wait to show up to work tomorrow and work with that team today. I've been with this company for 15 years. Every day I drive in going, I can't wait to get there. And that's the culture you need to create as a leader.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing. I believe everyone works for a paycheck, but people really thrive on knowing that they're making a contribution to the greater whole and that their contributions are recognized and appreciated. So I think you're both getting that message across straight. Laurie, let's jump into hospitality. You have hotel operations. They have restaurants, of course. Traditionally in the restaurant business, there's been, and I don't know if rift is the right word, but there's this sort of division between front of house, back of house, and communication is part of that. And sometimes the back of house, the kitchen, working long hours in heat on their feet, are making not minimum wage, an hourly wage versus the staff talk at the bar afterwards and, oh, I made $500 tonight in tips. And there's that division, right? And then there's this intimidation factor when the tickets are spitting out on the floor and the heat of battle and the pressure, and somebody needs a recook or this didn't turn out right. They're intimidated to approach the line. And how do you strike a balance in your organization so that are there team bonding exercises, getting people together and sharing the difficulties of each person's job, getting that mutual respect? I don't want to tell you how you do it. Why don't you tell us? Restaurants sell tons of fried food and your customers love it. But the hassles, hazards, and mess of fryer oil, cleaning hoods, and all that grease, well, you can forget all that with Restaurant Technologies. They deliver your oil, filter it, monitor usage, collect and recycle your waste cooking oil. Their AutoMist system automates your hood and flue cleaning, eliminating the fire risk. As a Restaurant Technologies customer, you'll also save 10 to 15% in your insurance premiums. Plus, get a bonus for new customer referrals. Get started at rti-inc.com or call 866-399-3639. Lily's Fresh Pasta refuses to compromise on quality. This family-owned business, built on time-honored traditions passed down from Lily to her son Antonio, lives on with every batch. Lily's Fresh Pasta is made to European standards using 100% non-GMO, glyphosate-free Italian unbleached wheat. Lily's is served in the finest restaurants in America. I've had Lily's Fresh Pasta many times, and I can tell you it's always molto buono. Elevate your menu. Serve Lily's Fresh Pasta in your restaurant. Ask your local food service representative or call Antonio directly at 603-818-2100 and be sure to follow Lily's on Instagram at Lily's Fresh Pasta.
Yeah. So I will say it goes back to teamwork, right? Whenever we have those situations, there is always someone they know is going to jump in there and help them out of that fire, right? Whether it's in the kitchen, whether it's the front desk and we just got a snow delay, so everyone's coming to the airport hotel, right? And we have a line at the front desk, whatever the situation is, they know that they have somebody that's going to jump in there for them and bail them out. So there's that part of it. For the incentive side, we have each month, we have a team lunch at each property. And the timing might change so that we can get different shifts to interact. Think about night audit. Think about the breakfast cook versus the night cook or the morning front desk agent. They don't even cross paths sometimes. Sometimes it takes a couple of weeks for the general manager to meet that person just because their paths don't cross. So we hold events for our team where everyone is in the same room. They meet each other. They bond. We have what we call a team in a box activity each month, and it's a friendly competition. So this month we're actually doing paper airplanes where they have to build a paper airplane and fly it the longest. So they split up into teams. They build a paper airplane and they fly it. And that sounds absolutely crazy, right? And you're like, wow, a 5-year-old does that. Exactly. But an adult may not. Think about how diverse we are, our kitchen staff, our front desk staff, our housekeepers. There are some people that have never even built a paper airplane and they may be 40 years old. So the first time this was ever rolled out, we had a team lunch, and we had an engineer who only spoke English helping a table of housekeepers who had never built a paper airplane before, and they were fluent in only Spanish. They built a paper airplane together, and then we do this competition company-wide. So their longest flight is posted on Instagram. We have Love Your Team Instagrams. And whoever wins company-wide gets a prize or something for their next lunch. They posted, and they actually won company-wide. So it was super amazing. It just shows it works, right? That was friendly competition, but it was also team bonding. So it gets them away from the daily grind, and it's just a moment to have fun and relax.
What a super out-of-the-box creative idea. And I think everyone would think that was fun, whether you've ever done it before or not, or if you have done it before, and then those teaching others how to do it and just coming up with this team thing to try to win something. That's tremendous. That's a wonderful idea. Let me flip the page one more time. Now, I worked with a client, God, it's been a couple of years now. I was first brought in just to do a team training, and it was very evident when I walked in the door that the inmates were running the prison, and that they were holding the owners hostage. They were running the show. They didn't want to participate. It was everything I could do just to get them to pay attention until I got their attention. This happens sometimes in organizations because certain, I wouldn't call them leaders, I would call them the boss, where they have this mentality that we need them more than they need us. And I can't say anything to discipline, or I can't try to shift behaviors. What's the solution to turn that around? Because that's a big problem when you've got a whole team that's against it and we're going to do things our way and we don't like change. And I've seen it happen, and I'm sure you have as well. Is there an answer to that?
So going back to the team lunches, there's always one table that just doesn't want to participate. You can count on it. Hands down, there's one table that's not going to participate. They're going to be super quiet. But it goes back to everything we said before, right? When you start recognizing, when you start doing these incentives, when they see everyone else having fun, it's just this ripple effect, right? If you don't want to be part of it, you end up, there are some that you won't flip, but most of the time they will flip because it's encouraging the team to come together, to just work together, to be happy. It's infectious. So I feel like it ends up just being that ripple effect where eventually you get to them. And it might take some time, but you keep working at it. And eventually you get their buy-in as well. I will say hospitality, we mentioned wages before. Wages, it's really hard to keep up. And we are not the highest in every location. But I was just in DC and the market there is crazy and the wages are very high. I was actually told by a housekeeper that they came to work for us in our hotel. Think about it. There's hotels right down the street, but they came to work for our hotel because they know how we treat our team members. It was a referral from another team member. So it's not all about money. You end up getting that buy-in. If you appreciate your team, if you do these things for your team and they're having fun, I want to have fun going to work.
I hate to use the term peer pressure because that's often considered a negative, but in this case, it's a positive thing because that positive performance and approach and recognition and rewards and feeling like you're contributing has this sort of a overlapping effect on those around you if it's the morale is going up and people are happier. As long as you've got to go to work, you got to love what you do. You got to be happy with the people you work with. There's the teamwork, the respect thing. So I'm hearing that's a really positive influence on others that may need to come out of their shell, or maybe they just have attitude coming into it. And then all of a sudden they come around because that's the way things work here. And I want to stay here. And it's better than my last job just because people recognize our contributions. That's awesome.
For us, it's not cool to not have fun. So they want to be a cool kid.
It's not cool not to have fun. I love that. David, what are a few must-have elements of a really effective employee recognition program? You've got a company that specializes in this. You're an example of this yourself. But what are those must-haves to really make this thing fly?
Great question. Can't stop thinking about flying airplanes at the moment, but
that's where it came from.
I think try to package it in two aspects. You got to have the right leader. And I think there's three leadership types, a little bit more, but the three that are common for me. You have the leader that's always going above and beyond for their team. They're just doing everything they can to make the team the best place on the planet. And you can feel that leadership at the top. They're not scared to be vulnerable. They say what needs to be said. And they really hold that line that this is the best place to work. This is the culture. We're going to protect it. And they appreciate folks who go above and beyond. Second type of leader, and I've been all three of these, maybe not the last, but second type of leader, they don't want to kick up the dust. Let's just do donuts. Let's do pizza. Let's not upset anybody, but everybody gets treated the exact same way. And I understand that, but the truth is not every employee does the same amount of work or gives the same amount of contributions day in and day out. There is in every team on the planet a few people that go above and beyond. And if you don't recognize them and show them appreciation, they will find somebody who will. And the third type of leader, and I understand they lead by fear. If you don't do your job, we'll fire you. So I think with tenure and performance and just the overall asset of the employee relationship, the people that want to get promoted and work their way up and just become a better person all love working for that leader who's vulnerable, who shows appreciation, who really gets it. And so a couple of things that I think you have to keep in mind when you do recognition is nobody gets hired as a general manager and here's your day one manual for the next 90 days. Most managers I know, the 7,000 clients that we serve, they had to figure it out. So for a manager looking to consider recognition, you do have to figure it out and you have to communicate. And I think that's the fun part. That's the great part. There is not a right or wrong. It's better tomorrow than we are today. And with the appreciation, you got to just be willing to say, I want the best team on the planet. And you as a leader know two things, what that looks like, and two, the team members that are helping you get there right now. And when you show those team members recognition and appreciate and say, hey, this is why Roger, or this is why Laurie, we're appreciating her. It tells everybody else in the organization, it's time to step up and get excited and get on board, and it's okay, this isn't the right ship for me. So the two things you have, you have the right mindset as a leader, and you got to be willing to let go of people that aren't made for the culture that you're striving for on your team.
I think there's been a huge paradigm shift since, say, 2019 and beyond, from what you talked about, management by intimidation versus being not too important to recognize something that's amiss and being a team member and jumping in and leading by example. So I think that's the new way forward. I talk about that all the time. But what do you see as being the new way forward for a leader to really maybe shift their mindset if that's the way they used to be and they suddenly realize they have to change? Change is not easy for many people, and people are sensitive to other people's opinions. And if you always did something one way, it's a hard thing to shift. Is it possible to change that mindset?
Yeah, we read a book here for book club called One Small Step. Book changed my life, changed the lives of many of our employees. So everything's hard that you've been doing over and over, and you don't make hard changes in life. You make small changes first. So for everyone out there that's, man, I've been doing this for forever, this is how I do it. Start small and in the direction that you know, and have fun with it. As Laurie said earlier, have fun and start small. When we have big meetings, big rollouts, big masterminds, big ideas, my challenge to the team is awesome. What's the next smallest step that we can take to get us in this direction? I know the 30-day game plan, the 90 to 6 month, the 12-year vision, but what is the next smallest step that we can take such that a week from now, we can all go, wow, we actually feel the change because we started small.
Thank you. This brings me back to grade school. I remember in elementary school or even middle school, perhaps, where we could actually evaluate our teachers' performance. Do you remember that? Did that ever happen in your schools? And that idea led to me in my restaurants encouraging line team members to critique, never criticize, but to be honest and share their feeling about how their leader is performing or how things are falling short. And we encouraged people to have thick skin, but to listen and to be open to new ideas and to not be too proud. Because even me, I allowed my team members to critique my performance as the owner of the business across multiple restaurants. And I was open to that feedback, knowing that they see things that maybe I don't see that could improve my performance, where I'm going to get more productivity. We're going to have better guest satisfaction. What do you guys think about that?
I love it. We do that.
You do?
All the time. Yeah.
Okay, so super. I wasn't the only one. So how does it work at Magna?
So we talked about suggestion box a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
A lot of our hotels, we took those out because we're talking to the team constantly. So I'll tell you a couple of things. Some of our general managers started doing coffee with Suzanne, for instance.
Yes.
Whoever the GM is. And it's a monthly occurrence where it's a casual setting where the team feel comfortable just going in, having a cup of coffee with their general manager. It makes the general manager look like a person, not a higher up that they're going to be intimidated by. And it gives them an opportunity to share those, hey, this is working, this isn't working. Hey, my manager changed my schedule or something like that in a casual setting. We take the notes from those sessions and then we do action steps on them. Another thing that we do as a company, we twice a year do team opinion surveys. And I know most companies do opinion surveys from their hourly team members once a year. We do them twice a year with our team. And we we expect our team to come to us all the time, but there are some, like we said, that are just not going to. They're a little bit shyer and not as outspoken or comfortable coming forward with a complaint or maybe an improvement that they'd like to see. So our opinion surveys give them that opportunity. They score their general managers, assistant general managers, their department heads, their supervisors, as well as the culture of the company and things they would like to see changed or improved. Or they shout out the things that we're doing great and they want to see more of. After we do those surveys with the team, again, we take that feedback and we do immediate action steps. So something that can be accomplished immediately and they see the change immediately, their voice is being heard and they can see it literally. And then something that can be changed in 60 days, 90 days. And then hopefully the next survey, we're getting positive feedback and improved score. Those are the 2 examples I can give that actually work. If you're doing surveys once a year, you might do a survey and then hire somebody who has to wait an entire year to get their voice heard. So doing it twice a year, you're hearing from the team more often. You're hearing from the new team. And we're never afraid of what we're going to hear. We want everyone to share as much as possible because that's how we grow together as a team.
That sounds very effective. That's tremendous. I think there's lots of takeaways there for sure. Can you define what you mean by genuine, heartfelt recognition?
Genuine, heartfelt recognition. I can say, hey, David, great job every single day, but it sounds like I recorded it or pre-recorded it and I'm just playing it over and over again. Genuine, heartfelt is exactly what it sounds like. You mean it deep down inside. You're not just saying it to say it. Sometimes we get I always go back to the sorry. You know how everybody has that automatic sorry whenever they make a mistake response?
Sure.
If you say, I'm sorry, you're owning the sorry. And then if you say, I'm sorry for, you're given a reason for the sorry. So it's not you're not just going to say sorry all the time as an automatic response. Usually when we see somebody do something good, we say, oh, thanks. But let's put meaning to it. Hey, thank you for helping out Suzanne move those tables earlier. That was amazing. And the guest is super happy. And it was last minute. Thank you so much. The team's, oh, wow, you realized what I did. It's not just, oh, thanks. I don't know.
I think what you just said is summed up in the word sincerity.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I guess where I was going with this is how do you keep a recognition program from getting stale and, oh, it's the same old thing again? And I think you just hit the nail on the head. It is sincere, genuine appreciation where it's not just a thanks. It's a really, you know what, I really care and I really appreciate exactly what you did. And you reinforce what the behavior was. And you know what, there's a book, and I know you've heard of it. It's called The 1 Minute Manager by Ken Blanchard. And I used that as a framework as I ran my businesses, but I always crossed off the word manager and I called it a leader. But essentially, you're recognizing people or catching them doing things right. And 1 minute is just the title of the book. It could be a 5-second praise for something they did great. And then there's a 5 or a 10 or a 30-second critique for something that to get them back on track. And I think that this conversation kind of sums that up. I have 2 more questions, or actually, I want you each to define 2 words separately. And we're going to mix this up. And I don't care who goes first, but there's lots of definitions to these 2 words, and everyone has their own take on it. The first word is hospitality. How do you define hospitality?
It's a feeling, right? Think about service. We serve people every single day, but hospitality is giving them that feeling, whether it's welcoming somebody or making them feel appreciated. It's the feeling behind the service. So it's both of those things wrapped into it. But I think the most important part is the feeling.
Okay, I'm going to mix this up so you don't listen to what the person just answered. David, the question to you is, how do you define empowerment?
Empowerment for me, define truly listening, asking questions, seeking feedback. We have a saying around here, seek first to understand, then be understood. I don't think you're going to get the truth from anyone unless you genuinely seek their perspective. And you can't fuel that perspective unless they feel heard. Something I have to practice daily, slowing down, actively listening, making sure, and just for the thousands of leaders listening, go above and beyond and repeat back. So what I heard you say was, is that correct? Means so much. Because they'll let you know if you miss something. And if you got it right, the look on their face is priceless. And I think that builds just trust. Wow, you heard me and I can trust you. And I believe that that's empowerment for me.
Thank you so much. And now your definition of hospitality, David, would be?
So excited. For me, it's eye contact. It's smile. It's the memory after the interaction of I can't wait to see that person again, or I can't wait to go back there. And it's missed a lot. But over the years, I've traveled and been in hundreds of hotels and restaurants. I still have those memories, that eye contact, that smile. And for me, it's that moment created or lost. That's hospitality.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now, Laurie, empowerment, please.
I think empowerment is owning the moment. Ownership is definitely a big piece of it. It's giving them the opportunity to be in the driver's seat, to drive their own success, whether that's in the day, in the week, but driving their future success as well. I think for me, that's empowerment.
Terrific. It's been a pleasure having you both on the show. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your thoughts on morale and teamwork and recognition and respect and up-leveling an organization. There's so many takeaways for our audience. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Laurie.
That was the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. Thank you so much to our audience for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors this week, including my employees. And we hope you all stay well, stay tuned, and we can't wait to see you in the next episode. Listen, what would it feel like to lower your operating costs, double your sales, lower staff turnover, create raving fans, and design a menu that literally prints money? Our online restaurant training system will teach you and your staff to rock your restaurant and transform your business. Head on over to restaurantrockstars.com. It'll take you less than 5 minutes to get started. You've got this.
Thanks for listening to the Restaurant Rockstars Podcast. For lots of great resources, head over to restaurantrockstars.com. See you next time.